Hello, BookTube. Oh, that's not me. This is me. I am down on in what I used to refer to as puppy territory. Bad lighting, bad posture, bad for the posterior. In order to try a library tour. Can I do such a thing? I've tried it in the past and it's never really worked. For the main reason that my library moves around a lot, it is not a static ornament. I'm using it all the time, pulling stuff down, sending stuff away, mailing stuff out, and putting stuff back where it wasn't in the first place. Uh, Probably an organizer's nightmare. And on top of that, I add to it a lot. I'm always out getting books, and well, April is going to have some of that. It's possible that May will have even more. So I've always been at a loss for how to do this. And then I thought, well, I would like the visual record for 2025. So maybe one way around that is to start with the little book room. I'm actually here in the little book room. And the books in this room, this is a much bigger version of the little book room than I like. I like the smallest possible space anywhere. Or just go to a new apartment, go to a new house, find the smallest possible space that has a window, and use that as my little book room. Just fill it with books. This is an actual room. It's a small room, but it's an actual room. But it's got a window. But anyway, the books in my little book room don't overturn anywhere near as fast as the books elsewhere. So I thought, if I'm going to do a library tour, I might start with Little Book Room. I've tried this before, and it hasn't worked because the Little Book Room has, in fact, shifted, but I'm going to give it a try and see. So we are down at... I'm just going to try this one little bookcase and see if it works. So we're on the bottom shelf. We'll work our way up. I think I'll only be able to get one shelf down at a time because I tend to go on about books. Like this first one is Modern Library. This is the Writer's Chapbook. With an introduction by George Plimpton, who's also on the cover there. This is the Paris Review, George Plimpton's baby. The Paris Review did author interviews forever and ever and ever. And there used to be a whole run of books just collecting the transcripts of those interviews. The Paris Review interview is famous. You haven't arrived as an author until you've had one. And this is not a collection of those interviews, thankfully. Thankfully. Instead, it prizes out little nuggets about writing and the writer's craft from those and elsewhere to make out a book. So it's a really good book about writing, a really good book about reflecting on writing, on writer's block, or on rejection from authors, or rejection from editors, or on revisions, or on the creative process just in general. Ordinarily, those are hit or miss. This was a really good one. What have we got here? This is a nice big thick thing. All right, this is the Modern Library. This is William Hickling Prescott. This is his book, his two books, The Conquest of Mexico and The Conquest of Peru. With a temple on the cover there. This is an old Modern Library. They don't look like this anymore. They don't have original commissioned artwork. They stopped having originally commissioned artwork with this run. This is not with the rest of the history. It's got a clipping in it that really needs to be smaller. Here, let's fix that while we can, because it was sticking out of the book, and we don't want that. I love this author. The reason that this is not with the rest of history is because I go to this too often for it. This author is so eloquent. He's the American Gibbon, in my opinion, and so I have this in here. Although, to be fair, it's grotesque. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure that I do have a copy of this in a different Modern Library out in the rest of Hyde Cottage, and I've written about Prescott as well. If, as usual with these library tours, if I can remember, I will append any writing that is germane to the books that we cover in that episode. But I've written about Prescott, but I have no idea how easy that is to find. Okay, then we have an old Bobbs Merrill paperback. They did a whole bunch of these things. The Bobbs Merrill design. This is John Dryden. This is an essay on dramatic poesy and other critical writings. But all the Bobbs Merrill look like this. They don't have any design at all. No, nothing whatsoever. Just that. They're good and sturdy, and there's a huge library of these out there somewhere. I don't know if anybody would be dumb enough to collect these, but this is Dryden inventing my profession. People say that, in America that was Edgar Allan Poe, or people say that just in general it was the Roman poet Horace. But no, I want the whole of the profession. People writing about the writings of other people, sure, that goes back forever. But and also people doing it while being functional alcoholics that dates back beyond Poe as well. No, this is the idea that someone who is maybe a man of letters, maybe engaged elsewhere in the world, maybe with other jobs, can also make a respectable profession, a side profession, out of writing with a clear head and sharp critical acumen in good prose about writing, about the writings of his day, for money. Which is why this is in here, because this is just so thrilling. I really wish, I really wish that there were a great, popular, 1,000-page, critical, annotated volume of Dryden's critical works and nonfiction, his essays and whatnot, all properly contextualized. He was a deeply political creature in his day. But Dryden is a dead name, so no one would ever do that, which is a shame. What's the next one here? And also with a review sticking out. That's kind of odd. Oh, it's not just any review. Oh, goodness. Oh, my. This is Edward O. Wilson. He was a bug guy, and one of his last books was Tales from the Ant World, which is just stories about how he examines ants in the wild, and stories about his own experiences in the lab and in academe. And you're not going to be able to make it out in this lighting, but I am actually blurbed on the cover there. I'm blurbed above his name. Is there any way that we can make the lighting see that? No, not really. It's white letters. You might be able to make it out just a bit. But not only that, not only am I blurbed on the cover there, but also I stuck into the book the full page of the Boston Globe Review from which the blurb is drawn. Because they gave me this original artwork. Isn't that incredible? They gave me this original artwork. And what was the tagline that somebody came up with? It's the ants' world. We just live in it. How wonderful. Absolutely wonderful that when the Globe decides to do right by a review that you've given them, they really do right by it. I got that in the mail and was just thrilled. And this is also really good. Edward Wilson is really good just in general. Let's see what the next one is here. Oh, okay, all right. Well, this isn't meant to be an ego fest. This is The Art of War by Sun Tzu, translated by Michael Nyland, in this lovely little hardcover here with the chain mail, or not chain mail, but the armor on the cover there, and on the back, we have a blurb by Dennis Washburn, the translator of The Tale of Genji, and also a blurb by me. So that is why, I'm pretty sure that is why this is here, because there's only a small number, only about 25 books, where I am blurbed on the hardcover instead of people waiting around and prizing out a bit of a review to put on a blurb on the paperback. So. And I really, really liked this translation. I thought I've read in preparation for writing my review, I read every English language version of The Art of War, and I really thought this one was better than the bulk of them. Oh boy, okay. This is by Joe Hutto, and this is from 1995, so I was out of book reviewing. Or I would have sung this thing's praises from the rooftops. This is called Illumination in the Flatwoods. I'm pretty sure that if this is still in print, it doesn't look like this. But this was the first paperback of it. And it's got illustrations. I'm not sure that the new version has illustrations in it. They might be expensive to just put on. But the point of this book is amazing. The point of the book is that Joe Hutto follows a group of turkeys into the wild, expecting, I don't know what would you be expecting? I think he's expecting that he will see them scratch on the ground and bump into trees and not do anything special. And instead he finds a vibrant, complex, deeply nuanced society. And it opens his eyes. It's an amazing piece of natural history writing. It opens his eyes completely to a world he did not know existed and that he's experiencing firsthand. And the loud implication of the book, and I can speak from experience that it is true, is that if you stop killing these things, or torturing them, or imprisoning them, or tormenting them, and do go just quietly into their world, you will find that they all have complex societies. For instance, ants. If you just do that, if you just let them do it, and control your species' homicidal, genocidal traits for just a bit, you'll see that there are complex societies everywhere here. Cows play practical jokes. Pigs have bad moods. And turkeys communicate with each other and on a vast array of subjects with a degree of complexity that took Hutto months and months to even begin to scratch the surface of. What a book this is. Oh my, what a book. I strongly recommend it as a reading experience, even though I should warn you that you probably will risk a bit of contentment at your next Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, then we have Elizabeth Bowen. This is A Time in Rome. This is the great short story writer. There's a volume of short stories of hers right behind me here in the little book room. I don't know why I didn't start in that corner. Lighting's pretty bad no matter what here. But this is travel writing. This is travel writing and place writing of the kind that a lot of people were doing at the time. Along the lines of Mary McCarthy, The Stones of Florence. This is her profile / meditation on the city of Rome at the time when she did it. That would have been 1950s. Is that right? 1959. So 1960. Really, really good. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Elizabeth Bowen, so I would get anything. But I don't often see her nonfiction. Oh, okay. All right, wonderful. This is Roger Lancelot Green. And this is Tales the Muses Told. A thin little thing that is small Greek myths. Roger Lancelot Green wrote a big volume of about Greek myths, and then he wrote a big volume retelling the Trojan War. And he wrote a bunch of other things too. Wrote a really good book on Norse mythology, for instance. The big book of Greek mythology and the big book of the Trojan War were put into a compendium called Tales of Greece and Rome that I love. But these are little stories from Ovid that you really couldn't make a big book out of them. They're little things like Ariadne or things like little transformation stories, little bits and pieces of Bacchus and Philemon, or people that are transmuted into trees or bugs or whatnot, and done wonderfully. Roger Lancelot Green has such a talent for retelling Greek myths that I just can't get enough of it. Although I've never seen a copy of Tales the Muses Told after this one. I got this probably 20 years ago. Yeah, I got this 20 years ago, and I've never seen a copy since. I never see Roger Lancelot Green in the wild in any way. What I wouldn't give for a hardcover of his book on Norse mythology. I would love that, but no. This next one has a publicity sheet in it. Oh, okay. All right. This is The Ethics of Spinoza, which is a really interesting work. I say that grudgingly. It is philosophy, but this is translated by George Eliot, who did a whole bunch of translation, editorial, and critical work before she took off as a writer, before she took off as a novelist. It's really interesting to see the little bits and pieces of her own style that she brings into what is a very scrupulous translation. The Ethics of Spinoza will really... he was a deep thinker. He was a very, very deep thinker. So it'll take you for a little stroll around the park, but it'll be worth it for you, I think. The next one, obviously not American. Oh, no, it's not American. Oh, goodness. Oh, well, this is a face that will be known to BookTube. You know that face? That's Britta Bowler. This is her book. Which could be translated, if you were going to give this a literal translation in English, it would be The Proper Posture. But I think this is a book about an advocate and also stolen artwork, Nazi stolen artwork. And I think when you read the book and you're pulled deep into the ethical dilemma of the main character, I think the proper idiomatic English translation, if this ever got translated in English, would not be proper posture, but correct standing. I think that would be better way to do it. A very deep and rich study of ethics as a novel. The type of thing that I don't know that you could just work on this, write it, and then get it published in America. It has no gimmicks to it. It's just a steeply intelligent novel of the type of thing that George Eliot would have written, but not the type of thing that's in the literary world today in America. And then the last thing on this shelf, now we got to 15 minutes. I'm assuming that's long enough. And then we don't need to go on to the second shelf. We can do the second shelf next time because all of my bits are going numb here. This is Henry Beadle Huff. This is his book, To the Harbor Light. Basically a May Sarton type thing, a meditation on being old. I think he was almost 80 when he wrote this, and he was writing about his beloved Martha's Vineyard and about his beloved Vineyard Gazette, but also about life. Then you've got a lovely spread cover there. Those of you who've been to the vineyard will know exactly where that is, and also an opening drawing of a man and his dog making their way to the Harbor Light. Is there a picture? Yes, there's a picture of both of them here. Sorry, the lighting is very dim at this angle, but there's not much to be done about it today. I will learn as we go along, because we have now done one shelf in this probably doomed library tour. So we've done one shelf. So I need to somehow stand up, and then next time we will do the next shelf. We'll just work our way up on this bookcase and see if this actually works, so that we can do this whole room. I won't make any delusions about doing the rest of Hyde Cottage. It's thousands more books. Instead, we'll just do this room and see if that will work. It's been a while, but anyway, I'll wrap this up for now. But I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.